How do I, 42 female, tell my husband, 42 male, of 15 years I want a divorce now that he's less of an AH? My husband, 42M, and I, 42F, have been married for 15 years, and together for 20 years, as of this month. TBH, we've both sucked at various points in our marriage. The first year was great. Years 2-6 were rough after we moved from my job and he became unemployed and had years of on and off work. He was lazy and entitled and I was mean and emotionally volatile. We fought a lot. We both handled it poorly in our early 20s. Things stabilized when he found a good job and matured a bit. Still, he's always been a bit entitled. Financially, I make more. I do 80% of the housework. He does his laundry. I do mine, plus sheets, towels, anything joint. He thinks he takes out the trash because he takes out the kitchen garbage, and thinks I'm unreasonable for asking him to empty the bathroom because I'm the one who uses the garbage can. I spent years planning vacations, doing all of Christmas. I'm a different religion, but I love our nieces and nephews and his parents. It's really most of the work. He does mow the lawn and snowblow. I help shovel snow and that's it outside. I do maintain my own car. I believe he thinks his big contributions to our relationship are tracking and managing Netflix and other shows, driving, and being fun. I'm not kidding. Some of this hapel ed because I was too particular and controlling, and I have a higher standard than he does, which sometimes is bad on sometimes bad on him. I'm controlling, he's incompetent. Bad combo. Probably around 2019, he started becoming rude to me. It started small but I addressed it regularly. The most annoying part was when he blamed me for everything. The tiny example is when he couldn't find the TV remote. Where did you put the remote? The rudeness increased after his best friend died at his own hand, violently, in 2021. I gave a lot of leeway and stopped pushing back on his rudeness. I told him multiple times he needed to go to therapy. After a lot of excuses, he admitted he didn't want therapy because he didn't want to do the work. I stopped asking. In 2022, I got sick. I was scared it was cancer, but all the tests came back clean. The ninth doctor I tried helped me clean up my diet, get active, start meditation, and motivated change. I'm not cured or diagnosed, but I'm much better. But it's a daily practice to work on my health. I'm not training for a 5K. I stopped watching TV, and I read. During that process, I moved into the guest bedroom to get better sleep. He refused to treat his apnea and blamed me for not giving him a sleep clinic number. I stopped hanging out with him because I wasn't watching TV anymore. He said no when I asked him to go for a walk. Always an excuse. I ended up creating a separate life in our home. Eventually, I think he realized it and finally stopped being rude, and stopped the blame. He did blame me for the remote about 2 months after I stopped watching TV. It's been better for about 6-9 months. But once it got better, I realized he only treated me with any respect once I forced him to, by removing myself from him. Now, I'm happiest when he's out of the house. I don't miss him if we're apart for a week. I am sometimes annoyed if he's in the house because he watches TV 100% of the time he's awake. I don't want to do our normal summer plans, which are fast approaching. So I think I need to tell him ASAP that I want a divorce. I'm thinking after an upcoming trip he has next week, so I don't ruin the trip. How do I start the conversation? How do I avoid getting sucked in a vortex of trying to justify, explain, convince him it's not worth saving? I don't want to work on the marriage. He's had 4 years to start therapy, alone or with me. So I'm not willing to accept that as an option. I don't hate him, but I don't really like him anymore. I'm done. Phrase it as a fact, not a question. When I told my ex-husband I was leaving, I said, I am not going to be your wife anymore. I will be moving out on X date. I knew if we debated who would be the one to move or even if he agreed to move, he would drag his feet because he didn't want to get a divorce. He tried to say he would make the changes he had been promising, but I realized my pain was not enough to motivate him to make changes. He was only motivated by his own loss. I have never regretted it even when a tree fell on the house I bought. We are both now remarried. I am much happier and I hope he is as well. You just tell him you don't love him anymore. You've changed a lot, and you're fundamentally unhappy in the marriage. If he starts telling you he'll change or whatever, you tell him it's too late. You're beyond wanting to spend any time or money fixing the relationship. You're happier when he's gone, and you're done. While he's away, you'd do well to meet with a lawyer so the wheels are already in motion. The attorney can also tell you what to do in the short term to protect your assets in case your husband feels a bit vengeful and decides to drain the accounts. This isn't a negotiation. You're telling him it's over. There's a lot of damage in this marriage. You can tell him cold turkey. But see a lawyer first. Have your ducks in order. So he knows you mean business and are taking action. Have your exit plan, finances, living, etc. Just do it. Life is short. You need to be happy. Have you talked to legal counsel yet? Maybe do that before breaking it to your husband. If you're sure it's what you want, start the process, then share the news with him. I'd do it before the trip or a few weeks after. It's going to ruin the trip for him in hindsight, regardless if he knows you've been just waiting for the opportunity. Lawyer first. Don't tell him anything or agree to anything unless you have taken legal advice. Interesting, as one of my closest friends suddenly separated and divorced after a much longer marriage than yours. Principal reason was that the spouse literally did nothing but watch television. How'd I tell my 21M girlfriend, 23F, why I want to get a vasectomy? My girlfriend and I are extremely close, she's my best friend. We've been together 3 years, eventually we're getting married, but it's not a huge priority right now due to college and other situations. She's very innocent, and therefore believes it's impossible we would ever split up. I admire her enthusiasm and don't see it happening either, but coming from divorced parents, obviously I know rational people don't get married expecting a divorce, and that anything is possible. Neither of us want kids, but especially not her. I could do it just fine if she really wanted them, but I'd prefer not to. Now with that being said, if we were to break up, and I ended up with another woman who really wanted kids, I'd like to be able to have the option. I've never been a fan of burning bridges, and I consider my balls a fairly good bridge lol. My girlfriend has been cheated and had rough relationships in the past with other people, so she struggles with trust. I'm worried that if I tell her this, she'll have the thought in the back of her head that I'm planning to leave her for someone who wants kids. Obviously that's not true, but why create unnecessary stress? Therefore I'm not sure how exactly to tell her this, or if I even should. Up until now I've just been telling her that I'm just afraid of the operation, but I hate lying to her. For some more context, she has major anxiety around doctors and related fields, so she is super against tying her tubes or something similar, which I definitely understand. She also doesn't do well with OTC birth control, her hormones don't agree with them unfortunately. Thanks. Edit. I hear you guys. I definitely agree, we're young and have a long ways to go. I definitely should have prefaced by saying that this isn't a decision we're wanting to make this instant, just a conversation that has come up before, that I wasn't exactly sure how to go talk through. We're working on her anxiety, because I agree that a doctor could have some good insight as to prescribed birth control or even other options. I also hear you guys that vasectomies are reversible, which does make it much easier to stomach. I did know this, but I guess I didn't weigh it as much as I could have. Additionally, she's not pressuring me to do anything. I might have accidentally given off the message that she was pushing me towards getting it, which isn't true. She just mentioned it, I said no, and that was the whole thing. I just like to always have reasons for things, and I feel like she deserves to hear mine. Thanks for the insight. Edit 2. Didn't expect this much attention. I hear everyone's insight and I greatly appreciate it. I definitely have more maturing to do, thanks. I am going to ask the mods to lock this post, I've got the info I was looking for. This is one of those situations where no is a complete sentence. You're 21 years old. Think change. Don't make any decisions that could affect your whole life. As someone who just had a vasectomy, I feel obliged to inform you that they are not as reversible as people are leading you to believe. The doctor hammered that home prior to my surgery. Don't get one thinking you'll get it reversed down the line. Why not try to be honest and tell her that you're not ready to make a permanent decision? In my opinion, you really shouldn't have to get into deep detail about why you don't want to do it. If I had a partner who was pressuring me into an operation, it would be my opinion that my simple, no I don't want to do that, would be enough. You're only 21, your frontal lobe isn't even developed. Don't let her coerce you into that. You're not even a firm no kids. That in itself is reason enough. I know people who had the exact situation of breaking up and finding a new partner who wanted kids. Just tell her it's not happening, end of discussion, and you'll use condoms. Boyfriend tests have me feeling bad. Her, 30 female, me, 38 male. My girlfriend, 30F, keeps giving me 38M boyfriend tests. We've been together almost 4 months, not long I know. About a month ago my girlfriend started doing boyfriend tests on me. It started with her telling me she wanted a weekend alone. So I gave her space, while making myself available if she wanted company. I failed that test because I didn't surprise visit her. We had a long talk together about the boyfriend tests. Primarily about how communicating directly what she wants and needs is the only way I'll understand what she wants and needs. And I told her I can't handle these boyfriend test type things she's doing. It feels unfair and I feel like I'm being punished for believing, trusting what she tells me. It's kind of hit ahead this past weekend when she told me our birth control failed and she's pregnant. She kept the lie up for the day. I think I handled it well. I was calm, accepting, and communicative. We haven't talked yet about her latest boyfriend test. I'm not sure how to form my thoughts on the matter yet. I'm very upset, and her and I have talked about this a number of times now. I do like her a lot, we have similar goals, similar personalities, or at least I thought we did till this all started. Has anyone else dealt with something similar and continued the relationship? Is my best option to just end the relationship before we're 4 years in instead of only 4 months? I'm kind of on the fence if I'm honest. She is toxic. Get off the fence and get out of there. Before she gets pregnant for real. Grimace. I wonder if she knows she's failed the ultimate test, the test of trust. This constant testing, see also. Lying, has now sufficiently created a level of skepticism you should feel if she ever suddenly confesses something else equally dramatic. Oh, your grandma died suddenly. Is it a test? Oh no, you were fired. Is this also a test? Aside from this being psychotic behavior, it has now given you good reason to be highly skeptical of anything she says going forward. Moreover, instead of addressing her possible needs in a tumultuous moment first, you will now have to consider if she is lying first and foremost. If she doesn't stop, this would be a deal breaker for me. She's 30 and acting like a 17-year-old. 4 months? I'd get the fuck out of there, and probably focus on dating closer to my own age. It's been 4 months, bail before you actually get her pregnant and have to deal with her crazy ass for the rest of your life. This is some crazy bullshit and you know it, so just go. Nothing's worth this. Lying about being pregnant is not a test, it's abusive, and frankly, if I was a man and my partner did this, I'd be traumatized. I don't say this lightly. Run. Tests? Not normal at all. Especially fake pregnancy test. Is my 38M boyfriend really concerned for me? 23F? Or was he just trying to assert dominance? For some background. We've been together for a little over a year. Every time I open up to him about my struggles, whether it's being sick, having painful periods, or anything else, he acts like he couldn't care less. He'll check in on me occasionally or visit only if I ask, but overall, his support feels minimal. Eventually, I stop leaning on him for emotional support altogether. Especially every time I open up about my feelings, he shuts it down immediately. Recently, we went swimming during a family outing. He was invited because we consider him part of the family. After spending the day in the chlorinated pool under the hot sun, my eczema flared up badly. I'm allergic to chlorine, so I usually don't swim much, but this is a once-a-year thing for my family, and I really wanted to join. For the next 2 nights, I could barely sleep because of how painful my eczema got. I didn't mention it to him until he asked why I had been waking up so late. I wasn't sure if he was genuinely concerned or just pointing it out, but I explained that I hadn't been able to sleep because of the flare-up. Instead of showing any sympathy, he immediately jumped into blaming me. No, how are you feeling? No, is there anything I can do? Nothing, just pure blame. You know damn well you're allergic, and you still did it anyway. He insisted I should have just stayed at the cottage with my mom. I tried to explain that swimming once a year with my family was worth a little discomfort for me. It's my choice, and I accepted the consequences. But he kept insisting I shouldn't have swum at all. Out of frustration, I told him, you know what my mom did when she saw me suffering from my flare-up? She took care of me and showed me love. And what was his response? That's not love, that's just spoiling you. The audacity. And to top it off, he said, I know there's no chance of me being right in this conversation, as if I was being unreasonable for wanting some empathy instead of criticism. I get that, logically, he's right, that avoiding the pool would have avoided the flare-up. But emotionally, I don't understand why he had to be so harsh and unsupportive about it. If anything, after all the fun, I should have been the last person left out, and if I chose to accept the price of a flare-up for a day of happiness, that should be my choice. I can't help but feel like he just doesn't have any empathy for me. Why do you think that is? Is this genuine concern, or is it something else? Dump him. He's 15 years older than you. There's a reason women his own age won't date him. Don't tether yourself to someone who will continuously beat you down and rip away any sense of self-worth. You deserve better, and this guy is a total loser. Dump him. Why are you choosing to be with this shitty old guy who doesn't care about you? Why does this seem like a smart choice to you? This dude's an asshole. There's a reason he needs to date women half his age, because women his age are experienced enough to know this isn't normal and won't put up with his shit. Look, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but this isn't something you can discuss and fix. This dude has a bad attitude and is not empathetic to those he loves, and that's not something you can fix. Either accept that he'll never be the caring boyfriend you want and live with it, or dump him. I'd suggest the later. I personally would not continue dating someone that acts like that. Even if you made a dumb decision, you're in pain. He should care to some degree. The fact that he cares more about being correct, and sticking it to you, than your well-being should be a wake-up call. If he had tried sitting you down and talking about how much he dislikes you making decisions that cause you pain, that's one thing. You've made it clear any sort of pain is not handled with any care. He is not going to change this behavior, So just ask yourself if you want to deal with this for the rest of your life. I would recommend not. Is this genuine concern, or is it something else? Is the something else that he's a jerk? Signs point to yes.